Hi, my name is Elizabeth Davenport, and my brother, Freddie Bice, is 51 years old and has CdLS. And I just wanted to share a little bit about life with Freddie, growing up with a special needs sibling, and why I decided that his story was an important story to tell. Freddie was born 11 years before me, so he's quite a bit older. By the time I was old enough, he was still playing young, so he would play alongside me sometimes, not necessarily engage in all my playtime, but he would be there and playing and play with his little pop toys and run his cars along the piano and things like that. So we had a very normal growing up, normal childhood together. And I have an older sister too. She's 10 years older than me, and so a year younger than Freddie. And we did all the normal things. We would go to restaurants, and sometimes we'd have to leave because Freddie threw something, or we'd go grocery shopping, and sometimes it was a fine trip and sometimes not so fine because Freddie might smack someone's glasses off. But it was very normal and very enjoyable childhood. And as I've gotten older, I've asked my parents a lot more questions as I've had my own children, wondering how they coped with everything and handled everything, and seeing now how different and challenging in some ways raising Freddie was. I've asked them lots of questions and gotten lots of answers, and I just feel like their story is a story worth telling. Back in January, I went with my dad to a dentist appointment. Freddie's had a lot of dentist appointments lately. His teeth just aren't doing great. I mean, he's 51 years old, and it's difficult to brush his teeth, and so he's had to have a lot of extractions. And he had a dentist appointment in January, and I tagged along just to, I guess, offer moral support, drive the car. And when we arrived, we live in northern Ohio, right on the lake, and so it's very cold in the winter, and so it was very chilly, very snowy, and lots of ice on the sidewalk. And Freddie used to wear shoes just fine, used to walk around just fine, and over the years things have changed, and he doesn't really wear shoes anymore at all, and his feet don't even really lay flat when he steps down anymore. He has to walk up on his toes. And so he just often gets carried around by my dad. My dad will hold him on his back, like give him a piggyback ride, and that's how he gets around. And so they climbed out of the van and headed into their dentist appointment. And I was very emotionally struck by this moment, watching my 73-year-old dad climb out of the van and give a piggyback ride to my 51-year-old brother to take him into the dentist. And I watched my dad go up the sidewalk struggling, and he's carrying a man on his back. Freddie might be small, physically small, but he's still a grown man, and a 73-year-old man carrying another grown man on his back, it's a tedious task. And so I watched him struggle up the sidewalk in the snow, and when he got up to the door, it was locked because they were at lunch, and he had to turn around and struggle his way back down the sidewalk to the car while we waited in the car for them to open back up. And then he did it all over again and struggled his way back up into the dentist office. And I waited after the door closed, wondering how everything was going. Was the extraction okay? Was Freddie in pain? Was Dad okay? Was this too much emotionally for him to handle? And they came out, and Freddie was crying and on Dad's back, and Dad shuffled back down the sidewalk into the car and said, oh, everything went fine. And it felt everything but fine in that moment. And I just was so struck by my dad's outlook on things and on life. He called my mom and he said, oh yeah, everything went good. Meanwhile, Freddie's crying in the back and has blood on his lip, and it didn't feel good. That moment didn't feel good. But my parents have such an optimistic look, even at 73 years old, with a 51-year-old son. They've done this their whole lives, and they have such an optimistic look. My mom feels eternally optimistic. She sees good where other people absolutely do not, and she sees positive things even in the midst of the turmoil and the chaos. She just has this eternal optimism. And my dad has just an unending grace for my brother, for things just in general. And I just have been very struck by our family and the things that they do, the things that they've sacrificed, my parents, the things that they've sacrificed, and how Freddie's life, he has, I think, a lot of anxieties now that he's older and doesn't want to be apart from my parents at all. He doesn't want my dad to leave him ever. And my dad recently had a stroke and ended up in the hospital, and boy, oh boy, was it a whirlwind. Thank the Lord he's home and healing well, but our things feel fragile sometimes, and we rely so heavily on my parents, and I'm so grateful for them. And I think that their story and Freddie's story is a story worth telling. So I've collected stories from them, and I want to continue to collect stories from them, and who knows what it will become. I have a small children's book that I wrote based on stories about Freddie. He used to lose his shoes all the time, and my dad started to joke that a bear stole his shoes, and so my story was born, Freddie and the Bear. And it's the story of Freddie losing his shoe, a bear stealing his shoe, which is more fun to imagine than just losing his shoe, because he did all the time. I would hunt through the parking lots for a lost shoe, or, they were custom shoes. His feet needed special shoes, and so you couldn't just lose a shoe and go to Walmart and replace it. So I would hunt for shoes all the time, and so the story of Freddie and the Bear was born. And the second one is on its way. Freddie has a coat that he wears and refuses to wear anything else, and it's the coat of many tatters. And so that's book number 2 of Freddie's adventures with the bear and how he got his tattered coat. So